What's going on, everyone? Gilman with Wellthy Stocks, back with our weekly Palantir update video, ticker symbol PLTR, where we take a look at how Palantir stock traded this past week. We'll also talk about an article, a little bit more of a technical analysis, a pattern that I've seen developing over the course of some time. I don't have it on my chart, but I have been following it. So there was an article that talked about it, so I'll go ahead and share that with you guys. We'll talk about, Cathie Wood's adding Palantir as well. And then we'll talk about, the usual levels of support and levels of resistance to see, where we could be headed this upcoming week. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to hit that like button down below. Subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Palantir are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. So let me go ahead and hit record here, and we'll get right into the video. So as you guys could see, Palantir ended the day on Friday down, actually pretty flat on the day. We didn't see much movement there. If we take a look at the candle there, right, not really any movement there. So now let's take a look at a little bit of technical analysis, not on my chart, but we'll pull up an article here real quick. And so what we are talking about here is that there is a head and shoulders forming on Palantir. This is something I've mentioned in one of my previous videos as well. I don't mention it on a daily basis, but I have mentioned it in the past as well. And I'll share with you guys a little bit of what that pattern means and what we kind of have to watch out for in Palantir to see if that pattern holds through, right? So first things first, I was going to cover this in a different article, but looks like this one has it as well. So they added about 1.2 million shares of Palantir, or Cathie Wood's ARK invested, ARKK, ARKK. So that was great news for us. And then I believe on, let me bring in this other article, might as well since we're on the topic. So this one was another additional 783,000 shares on Thursday, right? So this that we just saw was on Wednesday, 1.2 million, and then they bought an additional 783,000 shares of Palantir on Thursday. So great, kind of, I think almost 2 million shares that they bought between Wednesday and Thursday. So it shows you that they're, pretty bullish on the stock. So this we've seen on my chart as well, right? This push up and then come down. What this is talking about is a head and shoulders pattern. And a head and shoulders pattern is typically a bearish sentiment, but it doesn't always have to be. What we need to watch out for is the $20 mark right now. As this article talks about as well, it's head and shoulders pattern. They had resistance 20 before breaking above. Now we're finding support at the 20 level, and this is where the stock could bounce, but also if you're holding Palantir long, it needs to bounce. So like I said, right, it's considered a bearish reversal pattern. It does not always act in that matter. And here's, it talks a little bit about how, head and shoulders pattern works. So let's talk a little bit about what that means for us moving forward. So that $20 mark that we've kind of mentioned here as well is a pretty important level, because if you're bullish on Palantir, what we need is it to for sure bounce at the $20 level. If it breaks below $20, and that's kind of the head and shoulders, then that's going to be a pretty tough level for us to come above. Straight and simple, that's what it is. If you're bearish on Palantir, you want it to break that $20 level. You want the head and shoulders to follow through, and then you want Palantir to, have trouble staying above $20. So if you're bullish, bounce at 20 is what we're looking for. If you're bearish, you want it to go below $20. Either way, point being, we have to watch that $20 level. ARK Invest buying 2 million more shares is definitely good. Remember that they have a 5-year horizon, and they've had incredible returns this past year. So that's why, a lot of people are looking at what they're buying. But, overall, great kind of movement for, or not great movement for Palantir this past week, right? So we started the week kind of here in the 24s, ended the week in the high 20s. So if we take a little drawing here for us, we ended the week down about 9%. So we did lose a decent amount on Palantir, unfortunately, but that is the way it goes. The way that we kind of ended on Friday, right? If you take a look at this reversal that happened with both the overall market as well, but definitely really happy to see that, and hopefully we see a continuation of that moving forward. So now let's talk a little bit about Palantir. We'll take a look at how it's been trading. We'll also take a look at the broader markets towards the end and my thoughts on where the markets could be headed this week, as well as levels that I'm watching out for. So if you've been with me for a while, right, you know that we were watching this breakout, which happened that took us from the 20s to the mid 30s. And then the following couple days took us to 40s. We sold off, we ran into the close, and then we, got an earnings loss, surprise loss. So that caused a little bit of selling pressure. The insiders that had a bunch of shares, the executives, lockup expiration ended, so they could now sell their shares, and the overall market was bearish and selling off. So that took us from the 30s all the way to low 20s. We tried to push up, and then we kind of struggled again, right? So that's the last kind of shoulder of the head and shoulders pattern that we see there. And now the key level is this $20.18 level that we bounced off of once, but also we've got a support at 2150. So let's talk about future levels of support, future levels of resistance. The first level of resistance that we have coming up, you guys, is this 2362 and 2408 and then 2539. Those are the three levels that on the upside, if we're going up, watch 2362. If we can get above that, watch 2408. If we can get above that, watch 2539. On the downside, we've got support here in the mid 22s, which we're barely above. So hopefully, stay above that. If we break below that, 2150 is our next level. And after 2150, this $20 is $20.18 is our mark if we keep falling and go below the 2105 level here. So again, on the downside, if we break below 2250, watching 2150, and then watching the $20 level with a potential of a bounce of Thursday's low at 2105. My goal for Palantir this week, similar to what it was last week, but we just never got it, is a overtaking of this 89 exponential moving average. That is currently at 23.94. So it's only about $1.30, $1.40 away. Definitely think it's doable. The reason being, once we get above that, that to me is a good level of support. We get above that, then I think we can establish that as a solid level of support and slowly start to push back up as we get closer into earnings and as we get closer to demo day. Remember that the demo day, it's happening in a couple weeks. Hopefully we see a little bit of run into that. With that being said, let me share with you guys, kind of what I like about the market, right? So taking a look at the S&P 500, what we saw on Friday, right? So after I drew this line on, I think, Thursday or Wednesday, where, talking about, hey, we keep making lower highs, market's not looking too good, that's what we need to reverse. Friday, we got that reversal, right? Matter of fact, if you take a look at kind of the last hour, 10 minutes of the market, that's when we kind of really pushed up nicely into the close, going from, trading in the 390s to 396. The market in this case being S&P 500 is now coming up against a pretty significant level, and that's the $400 mark. Last time when we were at 398, I mentioned, hey, I think that we could see a little bit of a pullback and a little bit more of a resistance at the 400 level before we actually are able to break above it. That's exactly what we saw, guys. We pulled back a little bit, now we're going up. So the question this week is, does S&P break 400? If it does, very bullish momentum. If we can knock out this 398, which is I think the next level for us, 398.12s sometime early this week, we can make a push towards that 400. Now I don't think, look, futures can open tonight and we can be at 400 already, but we could also struggle at 400, right? So that point being, watch that 400 level. We got support down here in 394 and then 392 and then 390, but on the upside we got resistance at 398, and then 400 is kind of what I'm super kind of what is going to happen when we get there. Super excited about that. And then for QQQs, again, trading in no man's land. We've been between 310 and 320 pretty much going back to March 10th. So a majority of this month, I think we've spent in a kind of narrow range. A lot of stocks have been in a very narrow range, going up, going down, without any kind of clear direction of where we want to go. But if I were to draw a trend line here from where we are today to the all-time highs, what we see is we have about a 7% run up to all-time highs. So if QQQs can start running and if S&P can start running, break 400s, then we could definitely see the market take off this week. Continuing to hold my Palantir shares, continuing to hold my Palantir leaps. Again, the reason being, I think if again get back into the high 30s, we have a 70% return on our money. $38.93. If we go to mid 30s, we got about a 55% return, and if we can go back to all-time highs at 45s, 96% return. I think if you can hold the stock 2 to 3 years, as I've always said, I think it's a more than $100 stock if the company keeps growing, if the company keeps adding customers and increasing revenues, increasing profits year over year. But, you know, short term, I think we could see some volatility as we have. Depending on if the head and shoulder plays out, maybe we fall below 20. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we start to push back up, and that head and shoulder pattern is just, you know, not the bearish sign that we've been seeing. But as always, I'll keep you guys posted on that. So hope you guys all had an amazing weekend. Remember that we have a shortened 4-day week. We're off Friday for Good Friday, so just keep that in your mind if you are trading this week. But yeah, that's all I had for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, comment what your thoughts on Palantir are, and as always, I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.